Hello and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a topic that sounds super technical, data center reliability. But we're going to look at it through a business lens. We're drawing from a report by Virtualization Options LLC, which is aimed right at executives, not tech wizards. The big idea is to stop thinking about this stuff as just a tech liability stuck in the server room and start seeing it for what it is, a powerful business asset that can make or break a company. All right, let's get into it.
Let's start with a number that should really get your attention: $250,000. According to research from IDC, that's the average cost for every single hour that an enterprise's critical systems are down. And you know what? For many, it gets a whole lot worse.
For about 40% of companies, especially if you're in finance or e-commerce, the peak hourly losses can just explode to a staggering $5 million an hour. When you're talking about numbers like these, it becomes crystal clear, right? This isn't just some IT problem. This is a fundamental business risk that belongs in the boardroom.
So yeah, let's frame this as a boardroom issue, because that's exactly what it is. The cost of downtime goes so far beyond just the immediate lost sales. It's a multi-headed monster that can affect every single corner of the business. Think of it like an iceberg. That direct financial hit, that's just the tip you see above the water. The real danger is lurking underneath. We're talking compliance violations, painful contractual penalties, huge recovery expenses, and, of course, lost productivity across the board. And then you have the slow killers, the things that do long-term damage, your customers leaving, and the erosion of your hard-won reputation. So the real point here is that preventing downtime isn't just about saving money, it's about protecting the entire business. Now, to have a real strategic conversation about this, we all need to be speaking the same language. So we're going to quickly run through the key terms. Don't worry, this isn't going to be a tech deep dive. We'll keep it simple and focus on what you really need to know to be part of the discussion. First up, reliability versus availability. They sound alike, but they're fundamentally different. Reliability is all about trying to prevent failure in the first place. Think of it like trying to build a car engine that can run forever without breaking. But availability? It's a smarter approach. It accepts that failures will happen. The focus shifts to recovering so fast that nobody, especially your customers, even notices. And that's the whole game in modern data centers. They're literally designed to fail, but to do it gracefully.
So how do we measure this availability? The industry has a shorthand called the nines. You've probably heard people talk about 5 nines. Well, this is what they mean. And the numbers are pretty eye-opening. 2 nines, or 99% uptime, sounds good, right? But in reality, that means you could be down for more than 3.5 days a year. Now jump down to 5 nines. We're talking about just over 5 minutes of downtime a year. The difference is just enormous.
And this chart just makes it so visually clear. Look at how that bar plummets with every 9 you add. Just moving from 99% to 99.9% takes your potential risk from days of downtime down to under 9 hours. When you push for that 5 nines gold standard, your potential disruption is measured in minutes, not days or hours. That is the goal.
So how on earth do you get there? The answer is a complete shift in thinking, a design philosophy called fault tolerance. You stop trying to prevent every single tiny failure, and instead you design a system that fully expects failures and is built to keep running smoothly right through them.
So here's the formal definition. Fault tolerance is simply the ability of a system to keep on operating without any interruption, even when its parts are failing. It's not about having invincible components. It's about designing a resilient, intelligent system where the whole is so much stronger than its individual parts. And achieving this isn't some kind of magic. It's a process. It comes down to a few key principles. First, you hunt down and eliminate every single point of failure. If it's critical, it gets a backup. Second, the system has to automatically detect a problem and wall it off so it can't spread. Third, recovery has to be instant and seamless, all while you're continuously monitoring everything to catch issues before they grow. And when you do all this, you unlock a crucial capability. The ultimate prize is something called concurrent maintainability,
And this is huge. It means your teams can perform maintenance, they can repair things, replace hardware, do upgrades at any time without ever taking the business offline. No more downtime for scheduled maintenance. For any organization that's serious about five nines, this isn't a nice to have. It's an absolute must-have. But how do you actually know how resilient a data center is? I mean, how can you compare them? Thankfully, there's a global standard for this. The Uptime Institute created what's known as a tier classification system. It basically gives you a clear, apples-to-apples way to benchmark facilities. The easiest way to think about it is like a ladder. Tier I is the bottom rung, very basic. As you climb, you're adding more and more layers of redundancy and resilience. Tier 3 is where you hit that concurrently maintainable goal we just talked about. And Tier 4, the very top of the ladder, that's where you get true fault tolerance. Let's just compare the bottom of the ladder with the top. It makes the value proposition crystal clear. A Tier 1 facility has a single path for power and cooling. Any failure or even just routine maintenance requires a total shutdown. You're looking at almost 29 hours of potential downtime a year. Compare that to a Tier 4 facility. It has multiple active, independent systems. It can take a major equipment failure and nothing happens. Zero impact to the business. The difference in risk is, well, it's night and day.
Of course, climbing that ladder requires investment. A top-tier Tier 4 facility can easily cost more than double what a basic Tier I build costs. But let's go back to that number we started with, the multi-million-dollar hourly cost of being down. When you weigh the investment against that massive risk, the business case for building in resilience becomes incredibly strong. So, let's bring this all home. Why does this really matter? Because investing in this kind of reliability isn't just a defensive move to avoid bad things from happening. It's an offensive, strategic decision that creates real business advantages and fuels growth. Sure, it protects your revenue and builds customer trust, but it does so much more. It gives you a real competitive advantage. When your foundation is rock solid, you can innovate faster because you're not afraid of breaking things. You can meet strict regulatory demands with ease. And you can shift your best people from constantly fighting fires to proactively building for the future. This is how you transform IT from a cost center into a true strategic enabler. And hey, don't just take it from me. Werner Vogels, the CTO of Amazon.com, said it perfectly. In today's economy, the line between the winners and the losers is drawn by who can deliver the most reliable services. It really is that simple. Reliability is the foundation of customer trust and the launchpad for innovation. Which brings us to the one crucial question to leave you with. When you look at your own organization, is your digital infrastructure a hidden risk just waiting to become the next crisis? Or is it a finely tuned competitive weapon that lets you move faster, build trust, and win in your market? The answer to that question could define your future. Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.